All right. So, for whatever reason, I thought of Family Guy, and probably because it's always on at my house. I don't know, but anyway, I was like, oh, I never checked out the 49th episode of Family Guy yet. So I went here and I looked at the 49th episode. It is season 3, episode 21, but it's the 49th episode, and look when it came out, February 14th, 2002. So 22, Valentine's Day, and the 49 reference. So I checked this episode out here, and this is even more interesting. It says it first aired February 14th. The episode consists of 3 segments, each said by Brian and Stewie to have been suggested by a viewer. This was the last original episode to air before the series was canceled by Fox for nearly 3 years. 10 years later, a sequel of the episode was made in the 10th season. So, I mean, what are the odds of that? The 49th episode was the last episode before it got canceled, and it came out on Valentine's Day of 2002. And I know on here it shows the 50th episode as the last one in the season, and it really is, but it didn't actually come out. So it was also season 3, episode 22, so 322. But it says it didn't come out until November 9th, 2003 on Adult Swim, and December 10th, 2004 on Fox. And if you read here, it says it even here. It would have aired on Fox in 2002, but due to concerns about its content, it was not aired until November 9th, 2003. And it was because they made fun of Jews or something like that. Can't even remember what it said. And then Seth MacFarlane was like, but everybody that on the show is a Jew pretty much. And and then eventually it aired on Adult Swim and not on Fox for a long time or whatever. So just interesting, like I said. So I'm going to check out this episode. So right off the bat here, they're making fun of the Newlywed Game. So let's check out the Newlywed Game. There's a new Newlywed Game, but the original Newlywed Game premiered on ABC on July 11th, 1966. So on July 11th of this year, that will be 49 years ago. Even shows that the original ended, I think. It says a special week-long series for Valentine's Day aired on ABC in February 1984. It was the last time the show aired on a broadcast network. And then I guess Bob Eubanks was the host. He was born on the 8th day of the year, and he is 77. Another thing that doesn't have to mean much, but it says the show is produced by Chuck Barris, and that just reminds me of Chuck Berry from Back to the Future. And Chuck Berry is 88 years old right now until October 18th. Chuck Berry also, it says that he's from St. Louis, and I don't know, when you go to his albums here, he has a few called From St. Louis to Frisco, so I'm assuming San Francisco, and then one called Back Home and one called San Francisco Dues. I can't find anywhere in here that he moved to San Francisco, so I don't know like what the purpose of that album is, or if it's a live album or something, or maybe one of these record labels is actually from there or something. But just kind of interesting, I guess, that he has like albums referencing San Francisco. Then a genie pops out of Peter's beer when he opens it, and he gets 3 wishes, and one of them is to see Kelly Ripa's face. And just pointing out, I guess, she will be 45 this year, and she is 44. Right here, so Peter's last wish is he has no bones, and then Michael Eisner grabs him and uses him as a towel while he's going into the sauna. But just look at Michael Eisner, born on 3/7, and he is 73. And then Catherine Zeta-Jones is hitting on Peter because he moves to Hollywood or whatever. And but interesting when I looked her up, and they even show her husband, Michael Douglas, right after this. So she was born on September 25th, 1969, and is 45 years old. And her husband is Michael Douglas. So remember, September 25th. And Michael Douglas was born on September 25th, 1944. And he's 70. I don't know. I just find that kind of weird that 2 famous people are married and they both have the same birthday. Guess it doesn't have to be anything, just kind of weird. And she's also 45. Then on the next little short of the episode, a toxic waste truck lands in their front yard and it gets spilled on them, so they all get superpowers. But just wanted to point out the toxic waste is green, and the very first scene of it has the Count from Sesame Street, and he says 6, 6, 7, 7 bats or whatever. So they put in the 6, 6 and the 7, 7, and 66 is 49 years ago. So they're talking about all their superpowers, and they say Brian's super speed, and he says, "Ask me how the Queen of England is," and then he zooms away and comes back, and he goes, "She's fine." So he's so fast or whatever. But I never realized this before. Queen Elizabeth, her reign was February 6th, 1952 until present. So we've been talking about 52 like crazy, and then Princess Charlotte was born on 5/2. I can't believe I never noticed that Queen Elizabeth II has been queen or whatever, or her reign, I guess, is from 1952. And I thought it was almost crazy because it's February 6th, and this episode came out on Valentine's Day of 2002. So that would be 50 years and what, 8 days? I thought it would have been 49 years, which would have been really crazy. Okay, in this next scene, just look at grocery store, and they're in aisle 6, but both times, every time it shows the number, it shows 2 6s on the deal, so it's a 66, and they flash away from it and flash back to it 6 times, so they show you 66 6 times, and the reason I say that is because they're in lane 6. So here we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's really fast on that last one. And then they also, when they flash away from the 6s, what is it? 44 and 55 and 55 and 54, or 4554. Pretty crazy. And then right here, the news announcer, they're talking about all this the superpowers stuff that they're doing, but then he says, coming up next, can bees think? And then he says, a new study confirms that no, they cannot. And I remember a while back, there was a whole bunch of stuff about bees and whatnot, and we are the bees. Basically, we're the slave, we're the slave bees or whatever. But so I went back and just kind of watched a couple videos, and this video right here at the very end, he shows the Asiana flight 214, and when they did the fake names or whatever. But interesting, it's 214. I never noticed that before, but so that's Valentine's. And I didn't look that in depth to it yet, but I just wanted to point out it says it was going from Seoul, South Korea to San Francisco. And then you read here, and it says 3 people died. They were all Chinese girls. 187 others were injured. 49 of them seriously. Now, that's really strange that I would find this watching a Family Guy episode, considering, so I said, this is the last episode before it got canceled on Fox, the 49th episode. But they made a sequel to this in season 10. So 49 and season 10. Where is it here? This is the sequel they made in May 20th, 2012. But look what it is, the 187th episode. So 187 and 49 go together, and then that is how many people were hurt on this plane. 187 and 49 of them seriously. That's just strange. Even says it was scheduled to land at 11:04 a.m. 11:04. That's November 4th, 44. Tons of stuff. That's Egyptian Valentines. Just crazy. Tons of stuff. Even says of the passengers, 141 were Chinese citizens. And that's what it was all about. Making sure you knew that it was Chinese girls who died and the Chinese citizens. But it's 141. I've talked about this before as well. The 141st prime number is 811. Just like the 141st Kentucky Derby, that the horse that was sponsored by Call 811. American Pharaoh. I couldn't think of the name, but anyway, I'm gonna move on. But I guess yeah, going back to this too. So basically, they're just making fun of us right in front of our face. That bees cannot think, so we cannot think. And right here at the town hall meeting, Justin Timberlake says the Griffin's got to be stopped, and then the mayor says, "Settle down, Jeffrey," and he says, "I'm Justin." Then he says, "Mike." So the mayor calls him Jeffrey, and then calls him Mike. And I'll just show you right here in the. So why would he do that? I mean, I don't know. That doesn't have to mean much, but I've been talking about Michael Jordan like crazy, and look what Michael Jordan's name is. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So I don't know if that's some weird type of reference. You know, he called him Jeffrey, and then he said, "I'm Justin," then he said, "Mike." Just kind of weird. Then Peter morphs into a dinosaur and says they're going to erect a statue. Something about Blair Warner admitting to Mrs. Garrett that she plagiarized Emily Dickinson. So Blair Warner is actually a Facts of Life character. And let's see down here. And she is played by Lisa Whelchel. And I just thought it was interesting that she will be 52 on May 29th this year. And then Mrs. Garrett, Edna Garrett, is actually portrayed by Charlotte Ray. So a Charlotte and then a 52. She was born on 4/22, actually one day exactly after Queen Elizabeth II. So she just turned 89 years old. So I thought I'd check out the Facts of Life. It says the last episode was on May 7th of 1988. And this I didn't look that much into either, but look at the 88th episode. 88th episode, it's called The Second Time Around. So interesting, the word time is with an 88. It's also season 5, episode 11, 5/11. The mirror of November 5th, or not really even the mirror. Time travel, whatever. 49. I don't know. I'd like to watch it, I guess. Kids can be cruel. March 17th. I think it's the 76th day of the year. But also it's 317. I'm pretty sure 317 is the 66th prime number. 45. Not sure. Like I said, I need to come back and maybe watch these at some point. But anyway. Oh yeah, and I wanted to talk about the 9th season, episode 23. So we've been talking about 923, I guess, a lot. 923, look what it's called. The Beginning of the End, Part 1. Then on the third little short, they make fun of Little Rascals. And for whatever reason, I remember like Alfalfa, Spanky, and Buckwheat. And Cleveland, and we talked about LeBron James and Cleveland and all kinds of stuff. He's actually Buckwheat. But the guy who played Buckwheat originally is Billy Thomas. And he died at age 49 of a heart attack. Just thought that was kind of weird. And originally, the Little Rascals was Our Gang. And the first episode came out in 1922. And I'm making this way too long. I haven't watched any of these. Would like to do that as well. And this necessarily doesn't mean anything either, but right after that, they go into school, and the clock says 8:05. Maybe 8:04, maybe. It looks more like 8:05. But the movie that I remember Little Rascals from is this movie right here. And it came out in 94, The Mirror of 49. And it came out on August 5th, which is 8:05. So it's kind of interesting that the clock says 8:05 and they're making fun of Little Rascals. I guess there's not really that much more in this little short. I mean, they do some little minor things. They do make fun of Scooby-Doo. And I was just kind of looking at Scooby-Doo's episodes. And if you go to the 4th episode, it's called Mind Your Own Business. Came out on October 4th, big 88 day. But it's about an old mining town haunted by the ghost of a miner from 1849. So just, I don't know. Like I said, need to watch that too. But just, I mean, weird. You keep finding these numbers together. All right, and then so I went ahead and watched this one because it's actually a sequel to the 49th episode. And let's see here. It says the episode is a sequel to the first viewer mail episode in the show's third season, so the 49th episode. And it's the one with Peter gets struck by lightning and everyone he touches turns into Robin Williams. And everyone talked about this episode because it actually re-aired on the same day that Robin Williams died. But interesting, I just found another thing here. So it's season 10 episode 22, but and it came out on May 20th, 2012, and Robin Williams died on August 11th, 2014. So check this out. May 20th, 2012, 813 days, or 2 years, 2 months, 22 days. And it was the 22nd episode of the 10th season. I mean, that's pretty strange. So in the first short, there wasn't really anything that stood out to me. I mean, they had Queen Elizabeth, and I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot. He was trying to cut her hair, which that happens in the first one with Justin Timberlake. He has to cut Justin Timberlake's hair. So, I mean, I don't know what the purpose of this one really was. This one, definitely, you had Robin Williams, and they even did a lot of things that people that did videos about. They put the Rockin' Robin song in there. It's called Fat Man and Robin, and a lot of people made videos about Batman and Robin dealing with Robin Williams. Another thing that's funny is that Robin Williams was the genie in Aladdin, and on episode 49, so the one before this, Peter that gets the genie out of the bottle or whatever, out of his beer bottle. So I don't know. That's just kind of weird. You know, they planned it like that. They had to have. I mean, that I don't see the coincidence. And I'm not even actually going to show it. I mean, there's no point really. I can just talk about it. But this third one, there was a part where they talked about John Ritter, who John Ritter was a famous actor on what was it? 8 things for dating my teenage daughter, or whatever it's called. Yeah, 8 simple rules for dating my teenage daughter. But look, he died age 54, love, on September 11th, 2003. And it makes me wonder if he was actually supposed to die the day before on September 10th, because if you type in his the day he died to the episode, it's 8 years, 8 months, and 9 days. And even 8 simple rules. Look at their 49th episode. 49th episode came out on 5/4. Season 2, episode 21, 221, the backwards 122. San Francisco. And then later in the episode, Stewie even he time travels back to stop Kurt Cobain from killing himself and gives him Haagen-Dazs ice cream. And they are from Oakland, California, San Francisco Bay Area. And let's see here. They opened on November 15th, 1976. November 15th, there's your 5 and the 111 again. Kurt Cobain, I made a whole bunch of videos on him, and he died on 4/5 of 94, the Mirror of 49, and 4/5. I also, I need to actually make the video on his new movie. I just haven't had the time to fully watch it in depth, but I did notice a few things in that documentary. Definitely, they want you to believe that he killed himself. Just going to end it right here. There's a whole nother video I'm going to make off of this about Ukraine, because there's actually a part where Peter points to a map in here and he says something about this is where Istanbul is, and it led me to something else. And so hopefully the next video, and hopefully I'll get it out tonight, there's a whole bunch to do with Ukraine and Russia and whatnot. So anyway, just have a great night.